G'day guys, welcome to another episode of the weekly EV wrap. So, as you guys can see, there's a bunch of manufacturers or brands that we'll be talking about today. So, yeah, let's get straight into it, shall we? Alright, so first up we have New South Wales Police and their electric car trial. So there's an article published by EFTM, and let me read out some of the information here. So New South Wales Police are testing electric vehicles for highway patrol use. Trial aims to assess EV suitability for police work and to supplement existing patrol cars. So other Australian jurisdictions mainly use the cars for community engagement and not operational policing, but this essentially will be for highway patrol specifically. So at the moment, 5 models have been tested or are undergoing tests. So we've got the IONIQ 5N, the Hyundai one. You've got the Kia EV6 GT. You've got the Ford Mustang Mach-E GT. And you've got 2 BMWs, which is the BMW iX and the BMW i5, which I don't have a picture here. But they essentially went through tests. Then it'll be data-led decisions to see if the EVs can proceed to operational evaluation. Trial will supposedly deploy a number of smaller EVs, or a small number of EVs along diesel equivalent cars. And then it says here, authorities seek to understand EV suitability as electric vehicle adoption grows. So what's your pick, guys? What do you guys think? You've essentially got the 3 cars here and 2 BMWs, the i5, which is like 5 Series sedan size, and the BMW iX, which is a larger SUV. I personally think, if you go based on speed and agility and how quick you can go, probably the EV6 GT or the IONIQ 5N. I think if it's based on total space, perhaps the BMW iX. Either way, we're going to find out more information. I'll make sure I keep you guys posted, and that's essentially it for the police car trial. Alright, next one here, Audi Q4 e-tron. So this was an article from Car Expert. So you've obviously got the pricing over here on the bottom left, and then we've also got on the bottom right more of the specifications on the cars. So basically, since the announcement of full pricing and specs in June, Australia has now secured a more competitive price prior to the launch for the Q4 e-tron. So it means that we essentially get more value for money. That's essentially the short version. In terms of what each model means, so the 45, so over here you can see there's Q4 45s and you've got also Q4 55s. The 45s essentially refer to rear-wheel drives and the 55 refers to all-wheel drives. And so if you are going to get this car, or you're planning on buying this car sometime this year, the Car Expert article also says that Audi Australia is actually offering a 12-month unlimited subscription to the ChargeFox public charging network for Q4 e-tron vehicles delivered by 31st December 2024. So full 12 months free charging included if you take delivery of your car by the end of the year. So have you got one on order? If you do, let me know in the comments below what made you choose this one over some of the other cars. I think it's got typical Audi looks, and yeah, look, I think it looks pretty good. Hopefully we can drive one day, and yeah, then all of that looks quite promising. So yeah, we'll have to see. Alright, next one, Xpeng G6. So I got this email earlier in the week. You've probably seen a couple of videos come up on social media as well, and Tom's done a review of this already. Basically I got an email earlier on in the week saying that test drives are now open. I have booked one, but just due to personal commitments can't get to it at least for another week and a half or 2 weeks, so watch this space for the video. But just want to make sure that if you guys are interested in this car, then make sure you book online, you go for a test drive, and let me know how you go. So once we get our turn, I'll be sure to create a video and I'll keep you guys posted. Alright, smart number 1 and smart number 3. Now this slide I pretty much used over a couple of weeks ago. So essentially it has debuted overseas, and then now we've actually got our Australian media launch. So the price was already announced I think 1 or 2 weeks ago, and Nirav Bhatt that you can see over here on the bottom left, he attended the Australian media launch, and there's a full video covering of specifications and features and all of that stuff there. So I'll put a link in the description below. Make sure you jump over to his page to have a look through that, because there's lots of good information that covers all of the event right there. And then speaking of smart #1 and #3, you may also remember that we had hashtag 5, which essentially the news here was that they were going to do an Australian reveal. So the global launch was actually going to be in Australia. So that actually just happened this week as well. And so this is the car that has been revealed, and Tom did attend, so thanks for putting together the video, Tom. So if you guys want to see more of the videos on what the car is all about, make sure you jump over to his video and have a look at that. So the only specs that we know definitely certain so far is that these cars are coming with a 100 kilowatt hour battery, which is absolutely huge, and then it's a CLTC range of 740 kilometers. So in terms of size, and I took this from the Car Expert website, they're saying that the hashtag 5 is slightly longer than a RAV4, slightly shorter than a Model Y, but it looks like it's going to be quite rugged, and what they're promoting is, I guess, a lot of that outdoor type activities that this car is suited for. And so there's also another mention in the Car Expert article to say that we're potentially not going to get the smart hashtag 5 for at least another 12 months, because deliveries in China is probably going to kick off at the end of 2024. So most likely to be a car next year. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Mercedes-Benz EQV. So the Australian spec has been announced. This is essentially the car that you're looking at. The EQV will be sold as a single spec in Australia. So the updated EQV 300, it's now priced from a whopping $167,723 before on-road costs. So apparently it's a little over $5,000 more than the previous model. And then you look at the specs over here. Now, looking at the specs and looking at the dollar figures, for me personally, I don't feel like it stacks up. You guys let me know. What do you guys think? 167, say $168,000. Now that's before on-road costs, right? So when you add on luxury car tax and all the other government charges, stamp duty and all of that, you know, you're probably looking at $180,000, $190,000 before you're even driving away on the car. Anyways, and for that you get a single motor electric with 150 kilowatts. It's front wheel drive. 0 to 100 is in double digits, so it's nothing that's crazy quick. And you've got a NEDC rating of 418 kilometers. So, and then jumping further down, maximum AC charge rate 11 kilowatts, which is perfectly acceptable, but DC charge rate you've got 110. So you're not even in the 200s, let alone potentially 300s. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Alright, Leapmotor C11. So this car, as you can see from Tom Ludicrous feed, that was reshared from Ray G. There was a Leapmotor right-hand drive C11 spotted in Melbourne. So that's the car that was actually spotted as a part of the picture. And then I've done some googling. I've jumped onto Leapmotor's website and I've put some of the actual pictures, as you can see here, and also in the interior. So that's essentially what the car looks like. My view is it literally looks like a Porsche Cayenne. So in terms of size, look, I'm not too sure how that, in terms of size, that compares to the Porsche, but that's the vibes that I get when I look at it. And the only specs that we kind of know that I was able to pull from the website is a 69.2 to 89.97 kilowatt hour battery with CLTC cycles range of 502 to 650 kilometers. So that's quite decent in terms of the battery ranges and the driving range. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what specs we kind of get over here. So obviously this is a brand that is definitely coming to Australia. We can see that it's been spotted in Melbourne, so it's probably a car that's going to come soon. The only thing that we don't know is how many or which variants are we going to get when the C11 comes down under. Alright, let's talk BYD. So the Seal 06 GT. These are the official pictures from BYD. And they're saying here that it is going to be a car for young people. That's essentially the target market. It seems to be an electrified version of the Golf GTI, which is one of the most iconic models from Volkswagen's brands, and it's known for sportiness and handling and all of that. So I think BYD is kind of chasing after that market over here. And so this was essentially built off the concept model, which was the Ocean M, which is this middle one that you can see here. And basically it's going to be powered by some new generation of C2B or cell-to-body batteries. So I don't have too much more information on that. All we know is it's a sporty car. It obviously doesn't look as aggressive as the concept model, which you can see in orange over here. it does still look quite aggressive. You still got a little bit of the diffuser, not as crazy as what the original one was. And then in terms of the front, you know, they've kind of copied bits and pieces of it, so you can see that there is, I guess, large air ducts between both sides, similar to the concept model over here. But like I said, there isn't much more confirmed information at this point in time, and it is not 100% confirmed for Australia yet. So once we find out more information, I'll keep you guys posted. Alright, Cadillac Lyriq. So the news for this one is that for model year 2025, or next year's model, they are essentially slashing or cutting off the base model, which means that the current middle spec models are going to be your entry level. So what that means is there is roughly a $1,400 increase from last year, and you essentially get more tech. So you get more stuff. It is slightly more expensive, but the base model is totally gone. And some of the specs are here: 102 kilowatt hour battery, EPA rated 505 Ks for the rear wheel drive, 494 for all wheel drive, and 190 kilowatt DC fast charging. What do you guys think? Supposedly this car is going to come to Australia when Cadillac kicks off their brand again, so I'd be interested to see how big the car actually is. So watch your space. Want to find out more? I'll keep you guys posted. Alright, some news from Hyundai. So this is the IONIQ 6. So it's essentially been spotted. This is supposedly the new one, or the refresh, whatever you want to call it. So this one here is essentially the N line. So you can see by the zoomed in picture on the top left over here, you can see that's essentially what's on existing N line models. So we think that this is probably one of the higher spec ones. We do believe that at this point in time, the new refresh is probably going to step similar to the IONIQ 5, which means that it'll go from roughly 77.4 kilowatt hours, it'll probably go up to the 84 kilowatt hour version. And then they're saying here that following the launch of the updated model in May, Hyundai plans to introduce its first high-performance model in the lineup, which is the IONIQ 6N, in September next year. So hopefully that's going to be something that's coming sooner rather than September, because I'm sure that it'd be a great car, especially on the track. There's not too much other information that we have on this car at the moment, with exception to it's being spotted. So as always, if there's any other information, any other leaks over the coming weeks or months, I'll make sure that I post an update for you guys. But what do you guys think? I'm not too sure if the IONIQ 6 is such a popular car these days in terms of specs, because I don't really remember seeing it really up high on the ranks as a mass sold vehicle compared to something like your Tesla Model 3 or your BYD Seal. So yeah, if you guys got one, let me know what you guys think of it. And yeah, we drove one recently, and I'll be posting up a video on the IONIQ 6 soon, so watch this space. Alright, and here's a brand that we have not had too much information on in the EV world. So the Honda NSX-type EV, or NSX-type EV. So basically, Honda have announced in the Montreal Car Week that we are going to introduce new sports model in 2027 or 2028. And they're saying that it's going to be a new 0 Series car, which is supposed to be thin, it's supposed to be light, and it's going to be smaller than, or thinner than other vehicles. And it says here, so even with battery dimensions, we're trying to make a thinner vehicle so that we can realize a lower height vehicle and then a larger cabin as well. So basically what they're saying is they want to make a light vehicle, they want to make it feel like it's larger, they also want to make it thinner, and obviously they want to make it feel sporty as well, considering it's an NSX type of vehicle. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what vehicle they kind of come up with, because at the moment they're more of a laggard. They're not innovating in the world of EVs, and there's been no specs that have been announced. So maybe this is one of those tick box ones where they're saying that they're going to do something, they're going to aim to do it, but it's potentially lagging behind. Either way, I love the Honda brand. I'm a Honda fanboy. Hopefully they work something out, and yeah, I know not every single manufacturer or legacy manufacturer is obviously going to survive, but yeah, here's fingers crossed to see how they're going to work this out. Alright, let's move on. Speaking of legacy manufacturers, there is one on General Motors or GM. So apparently they have filed a patent application for endurance mode to help stretch a range of electric vehicles during races. So you can pause the screen here if you guys want to read through word by word or word for word what that means. But in terms of that type of technology, it already exists in some cars. So the Hyundai IONIQ 5N does have an endurance mode, and it's got sprint settings as well. And you've also got a drag mode. You've also got the Lucid Air Sapphire that apparently has drag strip mode, endurance mode, and hot lap as well. So they already kind of prepare the car for all of it. And some of Hyundai's cars also, you've got the boost or the N-Green mode where it gives you additional power for a little 10-second time period. So yeah, don't exactly know how specific or how technical this endurance mode is going to be, but it is something that they're obviously interested in, and it'd be interesting to see if that actually takes off. Alright, let's move on to some news from Tesla. So it says here, so for the Android users out there, Tesla finally brings Sentry Mode previews to your phones. So iPhone users, we've had it for quite a long time. It's now on Android phones. So if you guys don't have it, guess what? Make sure you update your app because it's probably there now. The next bit here, this was an interesting one which I saw on the Tesla Owners Australia Facebook group. So apparently Dimo is a car company or a data company that you can share or you can sell your data for as much as $15 per month for rewards. And this was the first time that Tesla has integrated to it. So what do you guys think of that? For me personally, I feel like my data is worth way more than $15 per month. I don't think I'd be comfortable selling my data considering how many data leak issues have occurred, especially in Australia over the past 12 months. So yeah, if this was available in Australia, is this something that you guys would do? Keen to hear your view. And then the last bit news of Tesla is that we've got more Model Y refresh or Juniper rumors. So supposedly now there's going to be two versions that are going to be coming out. One's a 5-seater and one's a 7-seater. So it is saying that they are going to be coming out of the China or the Shanghai plant, and you can see here 7-seater Model Y will be a 232, a 3-row layout similar to the current US version. So yeah, again, this is all rumors. Nothing is confirmed until we, I guess, hear it from Elon himself, or once we see an official launch video or media session of some sort, or media event, I mean. Okay, let's jump over to the last bit on social media updates. So let's go. So first one's first. Ford's electric division lost $2.5 billion in 2024. There's not much more information to that, with the exception to they've got massive losses. You've also then got Porsche saying that they have looked at simulated shifts for its EVs, but they ruled against it because they said it actually makes you drive slower and it makes it worse. So, is that having a dig or having a poke at Hyundai's IONIQ 5N, because that seems to do it, and everyone seems to be raving on about the reviews about how good and the engagement is. But Porsche has always also traditionally been, one of the most engaging types of cars in the world in terms of brand and actual driving on track. So for them to say that, I don't know. I'm in mixed minds. What do you guys think? And then let's jump back to some Hyundai news. They actually had a 2024 CEO Investor Day, and you can see over here that they're looking at developing a digital cockpit based on Android Auto. And that's the picture that you can see over here. Does that look familiar to you guys at all? Yeah. And the last piece of news here, Polestar. So Polestar announces that Michael Loschella will assume role of CEO. So Thomas Inguinath, who was CEO, has resigned from and it'll be effective from 1st of October. Now this new CEO, Michael, it says that he was CEO of Opel, VinFast and Nikola. So it'll be interesting to see how someone who was CEO of Opel, VinFast and Nikola is going to steer ship on the Polestar brand moving forward. I'll give it 12 months before we kind of start to see some potential changes. They obviously do have a pipeline of cars that are already coming. So yeah, we'll keep you guys posted. If there's anything else you guys want to know about that, let me know and I'll see what else I can find. And that takes us to the end of another week. As always, if you guys enjoyed it, give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe for more content. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon with more content. Have a good weekend, and we'll chat to you soon.